Hello everybody, and welcome to the Barbecue Mentor. It's that time again. We're going to fire up the smoker today. What we're going to do, I've got a 9-pound pork butt that we're going to smoke today, or Boston butt as it's normally called. I'm going to trim it up a little bit here. There's not much you need to trim on a Boston butt, but sometimes you'll find little pieces that's hanging off the edges that'll burn up, so you want to get that off there. You want to leave most of this fat that you can on here because that'll render out and add flavor and juices to your butt. So let me get a couple of these places trimmed up. I'm not going to inject it today. We're going to use my homemade rub on it. Let's see here. There's a couple places in here I'd like to get cleaned up. Like I said, there's not much you need to trim up on a Boston butt. Just cut off any loose ends that could burn up while it's on the smoker, like this. Get those trimmed off. Okay, now the best thing to do for your rub, you can use something like olive oil to coat it down, or in this case, I'm going to use just plain old mustard. And don't worry about using mustard. You're not going to taste it. It just actually, it works as a binder. Just coat it real good. Just rub it in all over the pork butt. Like I said, this helps keep the rub, give the rub something to adhere to. Get all the sides. Okay, and then put a good generous coating of rub on it. Don't be stingy with the rub. A pork butt can handle a lot of rub. And all this is going to do is add lots of flavor to your pulled pork. Get all the sides. Good thick coat. Get the fat cap. Now some people score the fat cap, which is perfectly alright, and I may do the same thing. It doesn't look like it's that thick of a fat cap, so I'm not going to really worry about it on this one. Main thing is get a good coating of rub. You want plenty of rub on this because it'll help form a good bark. Coat it real good. Put a little bit more on this side. And those of you that don't know about what part of the hog the Boston butt comes from, it's actually the top part of the front shoulder. You've got the picnic, which is the lowest part of the front shoulder, and then at the very top is the Boston butt, where it's cut from. Okay, we got this covered up with a good coat of rub on it. We're going to let it sit here for a few minutes while we go out and get the smoker fired up. I'm going to be smoking on an old country Wrangler, and we're going to smoke it, try to hold the temperature around 250, 225 to 250 in that range, preferably around 225, 230. And I'm going to smoke it to temperature. I'm not sure if I'm going to wrap it today. It just depends. It depends actually on what it looks like at about 4 or 5 hours when it gets up to about 160 degrees internal temperature, and I'll use my judgment then as to what it looks like, as to whether or not I need to wrap it. I'm going to base it off color. Alright, let's go get the smoker fired. Alright, I got a half a chimney of coals out here that's ready to go in the smoker. I'm going to put those in, put a couple splits of wood on the smoker. We're going to use hickory today and give the smoker time to come up to temperature. Like I said, it's just a half a chimney, just enough to get these splits of wood going. Gonna let that go for a little while, give it time to make some coals, and then we're gonna be out here in a few minutes after this gets up to temperature and put the meat on the smoker. See you back in a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. My smoker's up to temperature. It's time to put the meat on the smoker. Got my trusty Maverick. I'll stick it in here, try not to hit any bone. I got it at this end, is where it's the coolest part of the smoker. Got my water pan in here to keep some moisture in the smoker too. What I'm gonna do is watch this when it gets about 160. I'll look at it then and go by the color to determine whether or not I want to wrap it or just let it go through without being wrapped throughout the smoke. And I'm gonna work this until pull it off at a temperature of about 195. If you'll notice the smoke coming out of the chimney, that thin blue smoke, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see that bright white smoke coming out of there, real thick, because all that does is smother your meat and get a creosote taste to your meat, real bitter. So that right there is what you want to see. All right, let's get this closed up and let it do some cooking. Be back at you here in a little while. All right, everybody, I put another split on the smoker. We're about an hour and a half into the smoke. And I'm going to open it up here and spritz a little apple juice on this, see what it looks like. Oh yeah, looking good, coming along just fine. We'll just put a little apple juice on here and make sure we keep it moist. All right, we'll close her up and let her do some more smoking. Welcome back, everybody. We're about 3 hours into the smoke. I'm going to check the meat, see what it looks like, and spritz it with a little more apple juice. Looking good, coming along good. We're going to keep an eye on it. Once the internal temperature gets to about 160, I'll look at it and then determine then whether I'm going to wrap it or not. But as of right now, everything's looking good. Close it up, let it get back to cooking. See you in a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to take a look at the meat. It's been on about 4.5 hours. We're going to see what the temperature is. Actually, the temperature is at about 160. So I'm going to look at it and then determine whether I'm going to wrap it or not. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it. It's got the right color I want. I don't want it getting much darker. So what we'll do is wrap it right quick. What I'm going to do is double wrap it in foil. That way I can put it back on the smoker and let it finish doing its cooking. I'm going to wrap it real tight because it needs to be tight so the steam from the pork butt can finish cooking it on the inside of the foil. Double wrapping it also helps so that you, in case you tear it, you won't lose all those uses from the pork shoulder. Get my probe put back in it. Okay, we'll close it up and let her finish cooking. Be back at you here in a few minutes. All right, we've reached a temperature of 195, 196. So what I'm going to do is take this off. We're going to take it inside and we're going to let it rest for about 30 or 45 minutes. And what'll happen is the temperature in the pork butt that is wrapped will carry over and get up to about 205. Okay, we're gonna get this inside and let it rest for about 30-45 minutes. We'll see you in a little bit. Okay, welcome back everyone. We got the pork shoulder off the smoker. We've let it rest for 45 minutes. We're getting ready now to pull the meat apart and get ready for some barbecue sandwiches, pulled pork sandwiches. Now, what I'm gonna do is pull this using these meat rakes. I highly recommend these. If you don't have any, you can get them at Amazon. They're about $15, $16. They're awesome, and they're not paying me to tell you that. When you can do that right there, it's done right. It's cooked right. So let's get these pulled apart and have us some pulled pork sandwiches. Man, that looks good. It don't take long using these meat rakes. Okay, I'll finish pulling this apart here in a few minutes. Just kind of go over what we've done. Had a 9-pound Boston butt. Put a good coat of rub on it. Smoked it on the Old Country Wrangler. Around 225 to 250. We kept the temperature somewhere around 225, 230 most of the time. At about 160, I pulled it off, wrapped it, double wrapped it in aluminum foil to carry it over, and I judged that based off of the color of the Boston butt. I didn't want it to get too dark. And we let it finish cooking to about 195, 196. Actually, it was 196 when I pulled it off. And brought it in and let it rest for about 45 minutes to get it up to about 205. And now we're ready for some pulled pork sandwiches. Appreciate you joining me. If you don't mind, like my video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about it. Thank you for joining me.